What's up, y'all? Toya here, and I am back with another video for y'all. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Alright, y'all, let's be honest. Most gig workers are just using gig apps as a side hustle. You come out, you pick up the order, drop it off, and you go home. Simple, right? It is. But what if I told you that based off of how you present yourself could mean the difference of being an average gig worker or a top earner? On my most recent catering delivery, I actually had a really good conversation with the restaurant owner. She loved my setup with my wagon, with my bags. She loved that my car was clean and tidy. And she explained that she had a lot of bad experience with different drivers in the past. But seeing me was a breath of fresh air for her. This was her first time meeting me, and yet it was enough for her to ask if she could work with me directly in the future. And let me explain to those who might be unaware why this is significant. As gig workers, we are at the end of the line, meaning there may be one or more companies working as the middleman, and each of those middlemen have to get a cut in order to profit. So by the time we get the order sent to us to fulfill, we're usually left with the crumbs for the pay. If you're able to go ahead and bypass those companies by going straight to the source, you're able to go ahead and set your own prices and earn way more than if you just went through the gig apps. Now, for myself, as someone who has established a courier business, this is the end goal. I want to get as many direct contacts as possible. And this would be a great start for me. Now, for those who may not be interested in starting a business per se, you might be wondering, why is this even important to me? Why should I care? Well, let's start with the basic gig app ratings themselves. You can hate them or you can love them, but these ratings do exist for a purpose. Some may be beneficial to you and some may be more beneficial to the company. But let's discuss how they separate drivers from one another. These ratings can influence the quality of the orders that you're going to receive, and typically this means that if your ratings are higher, typically the more you can earn because you're going to have access to higher paying orders. Customer ratings, on-time pickups, on-time deliveries, even that dreaded acceptance rate, they do play a part here. Now, there was a comment that I saw on one of my latest videos recently, and I was just kind of reading through the thread like I'm just shaking my head, okay? So there are a few folks that were complaining about the response rate on the Expedite app. And in case you are unfamiliar with the response rate, this rating tracks how often you respond to the orders that are sent to you. So it's not an acceptance rate. It's not based off of how many orders you accept like you would do on DoorDash. It doesn't matter if you accept or decline, they just want you to be as responsive as possible. So if they send you an order, just say yay or nay, and that's it. But if you don't respond, well, that rating's gonna go down. I think I'm at like an 85 or 86 last time I checked, but it's a super easy rating that you have control over. Yes, I can understand it can be frustrating, it can be annoying, getting those dings on your phone at the times when you're not really prepared. I've got notifications when I'm in the middle of a meeting for work. I went downstairs to grab something from the kitchen, come back up. I got a missed opportunity notification on my phone. Even if I'm driving, I could just be on the expressway, just whipping it or whatever, and then boom, I got a notification. Do I want to accept this or do I, because, I'm going about 60, 70 on the expressway. So yes, they do come at the most inconvenient time, but this is still something that you have the control over. It's not an acceptance rate. You just have to be responsive. How would you feel if you were sending something out to a bunch of folks? You're just like, listen, I just need a yes or a no. That's it. And you kept sending it out, kept sending it out, and kept sending it out, and you weren't getting a response. 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to feel a type of way, right? You're going to think, okay, clearly this person doesn't care enough to even send me a response. Maybe they're too busy. Maybe they're just not that reliable. So I'm going to just stop reaching out to them. I can guarantee you that would happen if the roles were reversed. Now, am I saying that all of the ratings are fair? Absolutely not. There are still some things even on Expedite that I don't necessarily agree with. Example, the on-time delivery. Even though it doesn't necessarily mean when you get to the location of the delivery, it means when you're completing the delivery. So I could get there on time, but there might be an issue with the customer not responding. Maybe it's taking me a minute to get to the area where I gotta drop off the food. It's taking time to set up. So by the time I do that, I might technically be late. So instead of complaining about it, I made adjustments. I went ahead and I said, okay, let me get to where I need to go. And before that timer is technically done as far as when I'm gonna be late, I go ahead and I take my picture, complete the delivery, and finish my setup. And my rating has been going up ever since I did that. These are all things that I have the ability to control. So if you have the ability to control it, well, control it. These are gonna be the things that take you to the next level, because the truth is, gig apps, they're only going to be able to take you so far, especially with the introduction of AI and automation on the way. We don't know what gig work is going to look like for us in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years and beyond. So now might be the time to start looking at other things and not relying just on gig work. So even though you might not be planning on turning this into an actual legitimate business, that's okay. You can still treat it like a business, because you yourself, you are the business. You're representing yourself. How you carry yourself, your professionalism, all of that holds weight. Whether you're at a store, at the restaurant, dealing with the customer, people could be watching. You never know. And based off of that interaction they have with you, they could potentially open doors for you. That first impression itself, it might be enough. Or maybe you frequent an area. People start to take notice. They're like, oh, look, it's the delivery person, whatever. They go ahead and they take notes, and they're like, you know what? I like how you work. I got an opportunity for you. And depending on who they know, they might be able to go ahead and refer you to somebody else. And before you know it, you got a bunch of people that you're working with directly. All it takes is just that one opportunity. Now, all of this sounds great and all, and you might be wondering, okay, maybe I'm convinced. What am I supposed to do to get noticed so I can level up? So being professional is more than just being polite, how you dress. Those things are important as well, but it's how you carry yourself, your energy, the tone that you use when you speak. Do you look prepared? Do you have the right equipment? Is your vehicle clean and tidy? Making sure you're communicating properly so everybody's on the same page. Even going that extra mile, even though you technically don't have to. These are all things that people will notice. I swear I've seen way too many people, whether it's other content creators, seeing other people just passing by, they just look a mess. They look sloppy, their car looks sloppy, the way that they talking to people, they talking all crazy, being rude, it's a shame. Like I mentioned in the very beginning of this video, I get that this is a side hustle for a lot of people. So some people may not want to put in that effort. They may not want to put in that energy. They just want to do the bare minimum so they can move on to the next and make more money. And if that's how you want to do it, then so be it. But don't start complaining when your ratings are low. Don't complain that you're not seeing good orders. And definitely don't complain when you see others doing better than you. You didn't want to put in that extra work, that extra effort. So this is what you get. And when I say extra work, I don't mean quantity. Quantity and quality are two very different things in the gig space. Or just in general, to be honest. There are legitimately people who think that because they did 2 or 3 times more orders than you and they stayed out 10, 12, 14 hours on a day, that makes them the better gig worker. Meanwhile, you have some people who can do 2 or 3 hours for the full day and walk away with $200-$300, and they can go ahead and call it a day if they really wanted to. Because think about it, you have the person that's speeding through these orders. Okay, we're gonna do this, they're half-assing the order, trying to get it done as quickly as possible, right? On the other hand, you might have another person who's taking their time. They're self-aware of the time, but they're making sure that everything is being done properly. They're not missing any steps, doing this, doing that. If you have a client that's looking at both of those individuals and seeing how they work, If they had a large order that they wanted somebody to take, who do you think they're going to go ahead and give that opportunity to? Do you think that you can trust someone with a large order and make sure that they're able to go ahead and take care of it, transport it properly, making sure that it's secure in the cart, whatever it may be? Do you really think that they're going to trust someone who is just not given a care in the world with that small order? How you treat those small orders says a lot about how you're going to treat a larger opportunity. If they have an option, you're going to get passed up every single time. And you can't be mad about that. You wanted to go ahead and speed through everything and be like, okay, well, I'm moving on to the next order. Why am I not getting any orders? Why am I not getting better orders? I can't get this. I can't. Look at yourself. Look in the mirror. This is what can happen when you actually take pride in your work. People do notice. You might not think that people aren't watching, but people do notice. And if the right person notices, they can go ahead and give you an opportunity that it could change your life. You never know. Again, it could be that first impression. It could be somebody that's been watching you for a bit. But at the end of the day, only you have the power to turn a short-term gig into a long-term opportunity. So go ahead and get to it. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I got for this video. But yeah, this is just something I've talked about briefly in the past. And, it's good to see that, my efforts, they are starting to pay off. People are noticing and I have opportunities available for me. So what's going to happen with this, I don't know, but we're going to go ahead and see. We're going to go ahead and work through this and see what this brings us, and we're going to go from there. But I guarantee you guys, if you're able to go ahead and put in that work, put in that effort, have the right energy, stay positive, you never know. Like I said, somebody might be watching who can change your life. You never know. You never know. So just keep that in mind, and that's it. So let me know what you guys thought about this topic. I would love to hear your thoughts, so just let me know in the comments. Now, before I go, I have to remind you guys to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you do not miss a video. But I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one, and as always, stay safe out there and keep grinding.